A few details now emerging on that plan. They include a state bailout package that is aimed at protecting public sector jobs, as well as public works projects and the passage of trade agreements with a number of countries. Joining us tonight from Alaska for more on the economy, jobs, the 2012 presidential race for the Republican nomination, former Governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin. Governor, good to have you with us. Let's begin, if we may, with the president and his jobs plan. Are you excited to see what he's going to put forward?
Oh, well, I'm not excited to hear his ninth speech about job creation. Nothing's worked thus far, and I think what we can anticipate, Lou, is he will tell us that his plan is to spend more money, incur more debt, assuming that that's going to eventually get us out of debt. That's counterproductive, really, to debt and deficit reduction. So he's going to tell us that he needs to spend more of our money and more money that we don't have, and then he needs to increase taxes to pay for those things, and he needs to find money to borrow or print more money to spend more money, and he's going to repeat that cycle. Nothing's worked thus far, and I anticipate more of the same, unfortunately.
You've heard Governor Rick Perry. I mean, he really went after Ben Bernanke and the Federal Reserve. As Ron Paul put it, Governor Perry's making Ron Paul look a little, and this is Ron Paul making the point, making Paul look like a moderate on the issue of the Fed. What do you think of Governor Perry's remarks?
He called it like he saw it, and I always respect people for doing so. What Governor Perry is voicing concern about is something that I wrote about on Facebook pages about 10 months ago. This quantitative easing or monetizing our debt, essentially printing money out of thin air, which eventually will devalue our dollar and I think lead to inflation, in order to make it look like our debt isn't as bad as it really is. And Governor Perry was voicing great concerns that many of us share. He just used some more candid terms, I think, than some of us would have used.
Even you?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe perhaps I would have used similar terms, but yeah, I do share his concern, though, that manipulation of currency and centralized government thinking that it can plan an economy instead of backing off and letting the private sector do what it does best, our businesses, our families. Let us stimulate the economy by using what it is that we earn and produce and using our own priorities, our investments according to our priorities to start growing businesses and hiring more people. That's the root problem here, is a lack of jobs and debt incurrence. And again, what President Obama has showed us in the past is he's incapable of handling the situation and getting us out of debt and out of this practice of deficit spending so that jobs can be created. I don't anticipate much good or less turbulent waters up ahead. And you saw today with all that market volatility, Lou, that as markets look forward, they're seeing investors are more turbulence up ahead, more chaos, and the markets reacted today accordingly.
You know, Governor, the idea that we've got these folks now running for the Republican presidential nomination, and I thought the last Thursday's debate was the best I've seen in some time by either party, frankly. And I think that it's quite a strong field. Are we going to see that field expand, do you think? Certainly, at least, is that a possibility as far as you're concerned?
I'm still considering it, and I do anticipate a larger field. There will be some comings and goings. You know, legally and politically speaking, there are still some months left before the field has to be set. But no, there are others who are on the outside looking in, wondering if the candidates who are in the ring today, in the arena, if they have the experience, if they have the wherewithal, and if they have the commitment to allowing the private sector to grow and thrive and not rely on bigger government to make us happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise, because government can't do that. If those candidates who are in there today grasp that, understand that, then we'll be satisfied with the field. But if we don't get that sense from the candidates presently running, there'll be more people jumping in there.
More people jumping in. Amongst the names mentioned, of course, your own. Governor Chris Christie has mentioned, Congressman Paul Ryan. The likelihood that those names, including your own, would be added to the list would make this one of the strongest fields ever to contest for the Republican nomination, certainly in the last 50 years. But we also witnessed Governor Tim Pawlenty go after Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, who, frankly, I thought swatted him away and indeed out of the race. But that is not the kind of thing that Republicans, particularly Reagan-esque Republicans, should be doing, do you think?
I think there needs to be healthy debate and very spirited competition in contested primaries. I think it's a shame that we don't get that on the other side of the aisle, that the Democrats act more like a bunch of sheeple and they kind of have their anointed one and they let that person go forward. I think that is a bit unfortunate and unfair to the electorate. We need ideas expressed. We need solutions articulated. We need experience compared. And you're going to see that in the GOP contested primary. And I'm all for these candidates taking the gloves off, and the general election is going to be tough. It's going to be rough and tumble, and getting through a primary, you kind of get tested through that, and it's going to be good for the process, good for the end product, we hope, with a vetted, experienced, capable, trustworthy candidate rising to the surface.
Yeah, and that's going to be, as you suggest, stark contrast to a president who has spent this week, part of it at least, suggesting people should not be arguing with him nor bickering, what we used to call debate, or the rough and tumble, as you put it, of the public arena. Governor Palin, we thank you for being here. Great talking with you. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.